already bought the tickets. I already bought the tickets for 5 of us, but then there's other people that are going to meet them after. So yeah, but the movie will be done around 10.
Freedom of Information Week in the City of Toronto. And Tom, it's my pleasure to present it to an old friend and distinguished member of the media, Tom Sayers.
Kelly, a great event for my members, and we want to thank you for the hospitality.
It's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Karen Stintz, candidate for mayor of the City of Toronto.
Hi, it's my absolute pleasure to be here to join with the Deputy Mayor Norm Kelly, the Premier Kathleen Wynne. My colleagues, Michael Thompson are here, I think, in Chin Lee. I saw them wandering through, so I just thought I would say a special thank you for joining us. And I want to say to the ethnic media, on behalf of City Council, I want to thank you. I want to thank you very much for helping City Council reach out into the communities that make our city as strong as they are. Because we know that Toronto is made up of neighborhoods, and these neighborhoods come from, the people that make up these neighborhoods come from diverse places, and they need you to help deliver our message to them. Because it is a message of diversity, it is a message of unity, and it is a message of strength for our city. And we cannot do it without you. And so I know that Toronto is a safe place, and we don't experience the kind of horrors that are experienced in other countries. But if we've learned anything over the last 4 years, it is that we need the media now more than ever to hold our politicians to account and to make sure that the promises that we made are the promises that we keep. And so I want to thank the media for the job that you do every day, not just for helping us communicate to residents what's going on in our city, but for holding us to account. And I ask you to continue to move forward and do that work on our behalf, because that's what is going to restore the public trust, and that's what's going to help build a stronger city. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for inviting me here today. I want to thank you for the work that you do, and I want to encourage you to keep doing it on behalf of all Torontonians. Thank you.
It's truly my honor and pleasure to be here for the 3rd year in a row since being elected to bring greetings on behalf of not just myself, but the almost 140,000 residents of Scarborough Rouge River, a community which is almost more than 90% people who are born, or people who are of what we are told ethnic heritage, who are people who are of a heritage or a descent that where they're not traditionally Canadian. And every time I walk into somebody's home, I hear one of your radio stations on, one of your TV stations on, and one of your newspapers or magazines on a coffee table when I'm speaking to neighbors and residents in my community. So thank you for the work that you're doing. Just as Karen Stintz mentioned, Councillor Stintz mentioned, it's you who are making sure that the voices of Canadians, the messages of politicians and businesses and organizations are actually reaching members in our community. So, Mr. Saras, I have a challenge for you. You call yourself Canada's Other Voices. I think you have to say the voices of Canada, not just the other voices. You're not the other voices, you are the main voices, because it's you who are the voices that the majority of the people are hearing and listening to and reading. As we celebrate and commemorate World Press Freedom Day, I think it's an opportunity for us to remember the principles of what press freedom actually means. And as Tomas, you mentioned, there's far too many attacks on the independence of journalists, the independence of our media, and I don't need to, I can quickly mention 5 countries, but I don't think I need to, because you all know far too many countries where journalists are are put in difficult situations or are put in situations where they are jailed or killed for doing the work that they do. We shouldn't have to, and I don't want to take too much of your time, and I have greetings from myself, which I won't read, but I do have greetings from the Leader of Canada's Official Opposition, Thomas Mulcair, that I will read and present to Mr. Sarras. And the greetings from Tom Reed. Dear friends, on behalf of Canada's New Democrats, I am pleased to extend warm greetings to everyone gathered to mark World Press Freedom Day. New Democrats know the importance of honoring the vital work of journalists and news organizations that defend democratic principles and freedom of expression around the world, sometimes at personal peril. This is also an opportunity to pay tribute to journalists who have lost their lives and to those who have been detained or tortured because they dare to defy repressive regimes and continue their work. Obstacles to press freedom take different forms, and we must all remain vigilant, even here in Canada. Cuts to CBC and Radio-Canada have made it harder for journalists to carry out their work. In recent years, the Conservative government has also taken aim at our public broadcasters' independence, another crucial aspect of press freedom. The NDP is proud to support press freedom, and we urge the Conservatives to do the same by committing to protecting and promoting this precept at home and around the world. I wish you a memorable evening and continued success in advancing the importance of press freedom. Sincerely, Tom Mulcair, Leader of the Official Opposition in the New Democratic Party of Canada. And Tom, I'd like to present this to you, from Tom to Tom.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to do
Leads us to the Honourable Jim Karigani. Jim is a former Member of Parliament for Scarborough Agincourt, and he is currently candidate for 39 municipal election. Welcome, Jim.
Well, I want to thank you for inviting me to speak. I wish I could bring greetings on behalf of the Liberal Party. I guess I can. But I'm not longer, what do they call it, a samurai. Now I'm a Ronin. For those of you that don't understand what that means, maybe Norm can give us a little bit of history lesson. There's a good movie made, 47 Ronin. But I'm not going to commit harakiri at the end as they did. Premier, colleagues, I use that term still, just newly out of politics and all levels of government, it's a pleasure to be here with you. Tom and I known each other for many, many years. I was 14 at the time. Tom was a younger man. Tom was also a very good-looking man, and his wife made sure that our family kept a lid on him. Seen Tom grow younger over the years, and his wife even more beautiful over the years. The man has a heart problem, but I don't know where he finds the energy. He's a little slouched. I'm not going to tell how old you are, Tom. No. You're not a day over 29, your wife's 28. And yes, it is an ethnic press national secret. And he's an energizing bunny with batteries in that still goes. The ethnic press, like my colleague said, it is not Canada's set of voices. It is Canada's voices. Because it doesn't matter what we do, it doesn't matter what we state. Our mothers, and I'm talking about those of us that are first-generation immigrants, and mums and dads can hardly speak any English. My mum, she's the only left parent that I have. Every time she opens the Greek TV, always watches. And if I say something wrong or I say something right, I get one phone call. Love ya? Or the other call is. So for that, I thank you. I thank you for being there for us. But there's more things that we have to do. For many, many years, I keep saying that the other voices need to be at the table when it comes to giving advertising. Madam Premier, I have to tell you, government after government has been a dismal failure when it comes to giving ads. to the ethnic press. They'll spend thousands of dollars, even millions of dollars, mainstream press. When it comes to you, they'll give you $250 and they turn around and say, I want an ad or I want an editorial. Prime example, Jason Kenney. They spent, when C-10 was coming down the pipelines about the new immigration rules, something like about $250,000 to the ethnic press. They spend millions of dollars to the press. And when I asked them in the committee, give us the figures, I was given false information. And when I challenged them, they turned around and gave us the right information. I cannot forget, they gave $250 to an African newspaper. And they demanded a full page, and they demanded an editorial saying how good they were. If that's the way government officials treat the ethnic press, it's a real shame. They deserve nothing else but the same treatment as the rest of the media. They deserve nothing else than respect. And that's not only during election. That is every single year, every event. Now I know, Premier, you've always been at their events, or most of them, and for that I thank you. I do hope that if you're returned, or when you're returned, I can read the press, or I can read the tea leaves, that you will consider not them as the other voices, but as the voices. Because if you don't consider them as the voices, then my mother will certainly think about voting for you. My wife will certainly think about putting a sign on her lawn. And if my wife doesn't put a sign on her lawn, the whole neighborhood knows that my wife is not voting Liberal. She's got her own mind. And my wife is a very independent lady. And she has clearly told me, do not support people that will not support you. Thank you for having me, folks. Tom, I have no scroll to give you, but I have you to give you my love and my undivided attention and my undivided support over the years, and I will continue doing so. Thanks for having me. God bless everybody.
In Ontario, we are blessed with so many vibrant communities. Each one is a proud source of strength, and each one makes us what we want to be, and that is a strong one, Ontario. I think that our province is and can be a beacon of equality and fairness, where every voice and every perspective counts, and I think that we can and are a model for the world. But as I said before about freedom of the press, we cannot take that for granted. There are still those who seek to divide us, and we have to be very open about that. That's what some were trying to do last month in Brampton. As some of you know, a few weeks ago there were hateful flyers that were distributed in Brampton that insulted the contributions of the Sikh community. It was a sad reminder that there are still those who will try to use our differences to divide us. It's just below the surface sometimes, and we have to be very, very careful. You know, in the whole discussion about the Quebec Charter, I was in a number of conversations where people were saying, you know, well, that's happening in Quebec. It's not happening here in Ontario. And somehow that's something that maybe that's a reality in Quebec, that people divide themselves from each other. But we don't do that here in Ontario. Well, I'm sorry to say that there are many people here who still see that dividing is more what they want to do than unifying. And I think that that's exactly why what you do is so important, and that we must do together what's important, which is to bring people together. So we fought back against those flyers that were being distributed. We stood together. We showed that you can't use diversity divide to divide or weaken Ontarians, because it is, in fact, you know, it's easy to say that it's our diversity that unites us and strengthens us. I really believe that. I really believe that it is part of what defines us as Ontarians, as Canadians, that we are different. We are all different. We bring different backgrounds and cultures, and so that's what makes us interesting and therefore makes us strong. So I moved quickly to condemn the flyers, and I also also, our party led the legislature to pass a motion that condemned the flyers and supported the Sikh community. And I felt it was an important message as that was unfolding, that the entire province pay attention to the fact that it was happening. This kind of disrespect for a particular community, it's not only insulting and disrespectful, but it distracts us from our collective efforts to move our province forward. That's the work that you do every day, and I want to thank you all for making a difference in people's lives and for making our province stronger. In this sense, we're all working for the same things, whether we're in government or whether we're in the press. I believe that in terms of the work that Sue and I do, and all of my elected colleagues here, there's only one good reason to be involved in politics in the first place, and that is to help people. It's to advance the notion that government can be a force for good, that it can be a positive, progressive force for good in people's lives. And as was said by Councillor Stintz, we can't do this without the role that you play in informing and engaging the people of the province. So, I'm not going to make a stump speech here, even though we are about to head into an election, but I am going to say that the budget that we brought forward last Thursday was about helping people in their lives. It was about putting in place supports for people that would make their lives better and easier. Whether it's the retirement pension plan, or investment in transit, or the creation of jobs and the support for people who are already doing jobs, making sure that our personal support workers and our early childhood educators have the working conditions that they need. So that was the budget that we put forward, and we're going to be talking about that a lot over the next 36 days, 37 days. But I want to just reinforce for you that I believe that that is what government exists to do, that we need to work in partnership. The press and the people who tell the stories about community and about what's going on in the political realm, in the public realm, we need to be working in partnership. That doesn't mean that we always agree with each other. It doesn't mean that we don't get asked tough questions. It doesn't mean that we don't have moments where we feel like we're working at cross purposes. But it's working through those moments, and it's having the freedom of living in a democratic system where we're allowed to engage on those things, where we don't have to agree with each other in some mindless, mind-numbing way. That's the beauty of living in this democratic society. So you are advancing that. We want to work with you. We want to make sure that the plan that we bring forward, and Jimmy gave us a good notice about what that partnership can mean. It means sharing information and keeping you engaged, and it also means supporting you and supporting each other in terms of more practical support. So I want to thank you. We need to give our children the chance to continue to build this wonderful province and country. And part of that is making sure that those children have every single opportunity possible. That means having strong communities. That means making sure that our businesses, and you are supported by so many of our businesses, that our businesses can flourish, that they have the environment in which they can be prosperous. So all of that is our shared mission. So thank you very, very much for the work that you do, and I look forward to continuing to work with you to strengthen our democratic system, our province, and our country. Thank you very much.
I see why everybody wants to be the premier. All those pictures.
All those pictures.
But the premier, you forgotten about the grandchildren.
Mr. Timothy Peel, Vice President, CCAB, Division of BPA Worldwide. Timothy? Okay, next is Mr. Tom Henheffer, Executive Director, Canadian Journalists for Free Expression. And finally, His Worship Bill Fatsis.
I want to thank Tom and the executive, as the founding executive director of this organization. I remember that when we started this, we're only 4, and we met in the smallest room for our annual meeting at Queen's Park. And I want to thank especially Tom, because he's been the cardinal force for bringing this organization to the level that it is today. And thank you.
We are here tonight in the City Hall of the City of Toronto to celebrate the World Press Freedom Day. This is an important event organized by the National Ethnic Press and Media Council of Canada, with President no other than our own Thomas Saras. We're very proud of him for the work that he's doing in promoting the freedom of the press and protecting the rights of all those that they want to express their opinions freely, because after all, this is a democracy. Democracy is the place where any sector of the economy, any sector, any political party can express their views without being prosecuted or being punished for the ideas that they hold. This event takes place once a year, and those that have contributed and their supporters to the association, to the Media Council of Canada, they are recognized. It's attended by many different politicians. Tonight we had the opportunity to have with us a number of prominent politicians, including our own Member of Parliament, Jim Karigianis, and also the Premier of Ontario, who is running for re-election. I'm pleased to be here. And I'm pleased also to say that I'm one of the awards recipients, and here is my plaque that I received earlier tonight. And I'm thankful to the National Ethnic Press and Media Council of Canada for awarding me this award, the Certificate of Appreciation. Certainly I will cherish it, because it means a lot to me, since I subscribe and I believe strongly in the freedom of the press, and I have worked for everybody to be able to express his opinions and her opinions.
To be with us and to welcome us all here. So don't be surprised that only 2 candidates came. Everyone was invited. If they don't came, this is not, don't blame me. Thank you.
mismo me hace calor.